Right before the update launch, Techland actually went ahead and sent me this secret package. But we're gonna open this a little bit later in the video. So, the new update. I actually really like it. I am really happy with this update, and based on all the polls and feedback that you guys have been giving me, you all seem to really enjoy it as well. To quickly recap, this update has added a photo mode, new agent missions, bounties, new enemies, and also hives. And yes, don't forget, they also added in the E3 2019 outfit. It's finally in the game, and it is obtainable. This update is very well-rounded and hits all kinds of players in the community. It's giving everyone something new to do, which I find to be really exciting. Starting out with photo mode, this thing has only been out for a couple of days, and we're already seeing tons of amazing creations being spread around throughout the community. What is happening with photo mode is exactly what I predicted. The community is banding together, spending time with this feature, and sharing their amazing screenshots. And some of the stuff that players are coming up with are jaw-dropping. When it comes to updates like this, you'll have players returning for a very long time. It's a feature that you could pick up at any time, mess around with a couple of hours, and you're good to go. I'm very happy to see that photo mode is a success. If you look on Twitter, if you look on the Discord, a lot of people are satisfied with it. And this is something that I've been saying for the longest time, but once Techland gives players the tools to be able to express themselves creatively, it'll benefit the game immensely. Because with the launch of photo mode, you have a flood of community members showing off their creations, which could pique the interest of potential players, thereby resulting in more exposure, and thus creating an even more alive game and also community. This can also be something that Techland looks at in the future. Maybe they start doing contests for photo mode. It could be a good way to give back to the community, and that is an option as well. But Techland, listen again when I say this. When you give the players the freedom and the tools to do what they like, it'll result in greater successes like you're seeing right now with this update. If we go and look back at the original, you saw how mod support in the original helped it immensely. When you give players the tools and features like this, it can keep us occupied and busy while you are spending time developing new and original content. This might alleviate some of the stress and pressure that you might be feeling from the community. If you give us something to keep us preoccupied, we'll be good to go. And this kind of segues me to what I think Techland should focus on after the first DLC, which would be mod support and open developer tools. Like I just said, by having this option, it will keep waiting for the next big content drop a little bit more easier, and it will ease up on some of the stress from Techland. And you have to remember too, since they are essentially doing massive monthly updates, they need to add substance to the game, and if they don't, it'll fall flat. With this update, it did add a lot of endgame content, and I truly applaud Techland for doing this. More of this. Keep introducing new ideas and experiment with things and see what works. The introduction of Tyrants into the pool of infected is awesome to see. They are a slight variation to our fan favorite, the volatile. There isn't really much difference aside from aesthetics, which is a little bit disappointing if I have to be honest. I was kind of hoping for the Tyrants to serve more of a purpose. Their addition into the game is great, but they don't have much to do right now. I would say to have the Tyrants being the ones to guard and protect the hives. And when you come across a Tyrant during the open world, maybe have a swarm of biters or spitters being around its presence. Because when the Tyrants are all alone, that's when it really starts to shine through how lackluster they are. Their interaction becomes much more intense and horrifying when there are others surrounding them. A little bit of adjusting to the Tyrants to make them more brutal would be perfect. I also read a comment from a user down below that said that they should add them to chase level 4s. That's an awesome thing to do. I'm totally for that. It will give them a more fearful presence in the nighttime. Like I've been saying, a lot of what was introduced in this update is good, just needs a little bit more work. A very nice solid foundation was set, and now Techland has the opportunity to build on top of that. And speaking of Techland, it's unbox time. It says right here, Dying Light, goodbye and good luck, symbolizing that Techland is finally closing the chapter on the original. It's a very bittersweet ending because you have so many memories tied to a game, and now it's time to finally say goodbye and to keep moving forward. Oh, this is so cool. There's a little Polaroid in here. Oh my god, this is very cute. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, look at that. Ah, nice little picture. They also have this photo of the entire original crew right there. Kyle Crane in the front, and then everybody else surrounding him. This is adorable. I actually like this a lot. They do have some little messages here as well, thanking the community for everything that they've done over the years, and that they're looking forward to supporting us in Dying Light 2 Stay Human. And then there's also a nice little volatile right here. But Techland, thank you so much for all of this. I would love to hang it up, but I'm in the middle of moving, hence why Danny DeVito's not here right now. And I think I speak on behalf of a lot of people when I say this, but thank you so much for the past 7 years. Thank you for everything that you've been doing, and I'm looking forward to the next 5 years with you with Dying Light 2 Stay Human. But friends, we have more update to talk about. But let's go ahead and get back to it. Harper the Night Runner was introduced, and he comes with a mountain of endgame content. He has bounties, missions, rewards, and so much more. He has daily and weekly bounties to keep the player interested in tuning in every single week and day. This was something that really added to the base game, and I'm really satisfied with how it launched. I do have a couple of concerns. How often will we be getting these updates to the chapters? Is this going to be a weekly or monthly activity? Because waiting a month for chapter 2 might be tiresome. Additionally, what does the bounty pool look like? The Techland GG website says that there are 35 different bounties, which honestly isn't much. After a few days, the game will suffer if we start getting repeating bounties. Those are always not fun to have. And some players have informed me that it's already happening for them. I'm hoping by chapter 2, whenever that may be, we get at least another 50 more bounties. I know that might be saying a lot, but ideally it would be best to not have the same bounty for at least a week. Some of the people that I've been talking to, they played on day 1, they played on day 3, and they got 2 or 3 of the same bounties. That shouldn't be happening. But then on top of that, there needs to be reasons to keep leveling up. So updating his vendor shop is a must. Keep things fresh. You can have his inventory be updated weekly, but then keep certain things in there like the E3 outfit and others as well. If some of this stuff is planned for chapter 2, then you can rightfully ignore me. Harper also has mission tickets. These are little activities that'll test both your ability to do parkour and combat in a timely manner. And then they also have more harder tracks for veteran players. This right here is a great addition to have in the end game content activities for Dying Light 2. Remember those parkour challenges that Techland added on very early into the game's life cycle and the poor reception of that? Don't do that. Don't do that anymore. What we have here is good. Keep doing more of that. These missions are the perfect solution. Last but not least, we do have the Hives, which I am a fan of, but this does go back to my earlier point where I do believe that the Tyrants should be the ones protecting it. I also have a slight recommendation for this. So when you see this activity, it is indicated by a blue marker. A slight change that I would recommend for the Hive and Tyrant icons would be changing it to red. This would help the players be able to distinguish the enemies more clearly. And one final recommendation that I do have is some sort of UI menu screen where we can actively track our bounties and weekly challenges. Right now, I believe the only way to track your progress is by having this screen appear. For me on PC, I can get it to appear by clicking on tab. It would be really beneficial to clean this up a bit and have a certain section for it when we do pause our game. I would recommend making this change early on because it seems like more and more content like this will be added on later down the road maybe. And if you have more vendors and bounties coming in, you definitely want to get it organized before it does become messy. But friends, overall, I think this update is a really good step in the right direction. By far, my favorite update so far in this game. But I'd also like to hear from you. What changes and recommendations do you have? Are you currently enjoying the update? Let me know. Be happy to read it. If you want to see some more videos about Dying Light 2, click right here. See ya.